Bunderkin a bun 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 ba Bunderkin a bun. Bun 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 ba Bunderkin bun 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 ba Bunderkin bun 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 ba Bunderkin bun. This is Beedee, the Bunder Dragon. Here comes Cat, slowly lagging. Tupper in tow, always tagging along. Vi dreams big but drops the ball. Her petite pal Pam is tough but small. Kiki loves books, she reads them all. And the twins, they brawl. In a land of wonders, both great and small. In Bunder Valley, you'll see it all. Come discover the mystery, what it means to me. A bun 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 ba Bunderkin a bun 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 ba Bunderkin a bun 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 ba Bunderkin bun 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 ba Bunderkin.
It's Thursday, it's 5 p.m., and it's time for Bunderkin Weeklies. Welcome, everybody, for tuning in to the most undiscovered YouTube series of all time. Welcome to our little corner of the internet, Bunderkin Weeklies. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to be continuing our presentation of some of Beedee's house designs. This time we're going to be interior. And I also want to show you some updates from this week, some hot off the press art that we did and animations and just some quick previews. But yeah, I'm going to bring everybody in. Let's do this. We got Samantha.
Hello.
Lucas, she's here. Yeah. We got Andy.
Hey.
We got Matt. We got John.
Hello.
And we have Risa.
Hi.
Yes. We have done a lot this week. So it's been a big week for Bunderkin. Before we get into the topic of the week, I want to make sure everybody remembers to like and subscribe. Send all your friends our way. Send them to our Instagram. Send them to our TikTok. Send them to our new YouTube channel here. Yeah, that can make all the difference. We're trying to build up our social, our following count, and yeah, every follow helps. I'll tell you that. Yes, we have. I'm going to jump off the rails a little bit and present just a little bit of hot off the press artwork that I'm not going to completely decompose, but I'll decompose some of. We had Amanda May who finished this awesome social media animation that we're going to use of Vi and Pam jumping into action. Super adorbs.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to use that all over the place. Little animations like this have a lot of use for just hyping up the end of a video or the start of a video. It's like a little social media spot, it's super cute. Good job, Amanda. We have John who did some amazing Bunder Hollow table designs and flags and pennants and types of draperies that are going to be all around Bunder Hollow. We had some highlights. I sculpted this lovely doorknob. Every doorknob has character. John designed an awesome doorknob with like a hand kind of just, has like a hand built in. And yeah, I kind of did that. I did a quick Bunder Hollow door frame. Super cute.
I really like how that turned out.
Yeah, that one turned out good, right? Yeah. We're really trying to we're hitting our stride with a lot of the prop design. This is a little scene that I've been working on, just of random pies and baguettes and brushes and crates and things. And it's got models for me and Risa in here. And yeah, just a nice little hodgepodge. Risa really kicked into gear with Kiki's workplace. Quick preview of this update. Again, this is just this week. Texture pass, beautiful work. This is kind of a first pass texture pass. Is that right, Risa?
Yeah, it is.
Really fun details. It's really hard for us to not like chase realism to the fun. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that look, this is a stylized show, so it can be interesting for us to kind of remember to stop here. Here's a nice 4K version of that. Actually, looks great, right? Great work. We have John designed some doors. What do residential doors look like in Bunder Hollow? And yeah, these are some beautiful examples that I was so happy with. And I've been modeling these today and yesterday, as well as apartment doors. And there's that lovely doorknob you can see that he designed. These are apartment doors and awesome commercial doors, just of different types of establishments. Super cute. Love this one with the this is the founder of Good Times in Bunder Hollow. He's treated somewhat like a lucky cat kind of idol that you might see in Chinese and Japanese establishments. Brings good luck, that kind of thing. Super cute, beaded curtain. Love it. Yeah, and yeah, more tables. And yeah, and John actually drew this. I mean, you've had a busy week, John. You drew this illustration as well of the establishment right below Kiki's office, where she works. She does not work in a great neighborhood. I'll tell you that. It's a little bit dingy. So anyway, that's all just this week. Fantastic week, guys. Good work, guys. Everybody.
Thanks. It's been a busy and fun week.
Yeah, it was fun. We're moving the needle. Every little prop counts. No prop left behind. All right. So today, Ken, do you want to bring open the slide for the
Yeah. Second.
I gotta share this. Steven, I love your sweatshirt, man. What's the red sweatshirt?
Steven, your mic is cutting.
Oh, is
so
it? Okay,
yeah, I can hear you now, but for a second there.
Yeah.
it
Let
was
me
in and out.
let me close some
Yeah.
software here. I got a lot open.
I think it's when you lean away.
My bad. My bad. Thanks for the hoodie compliment though. Really makes a man feel good. The doorknob gives Gravity Falls journal vibes. Yeah, there's a six-fingered hand on the Gravity Falls journal. This is just more like a, hey, put your hand here and open the doorknob kind of carving, you know. But I think we'll see that hand doorknob in a lot of places.
Mhm.
Anyway, sorry, where's that slide at? Where are we going? There we go.
So right here. So today we're
Right.
talking about Beedee's Treehouse, but the interior. And then I do have an agenda. Do you want me to pull?
Yeah, please do.
Cool. All right. So do you want to walk through
Yes.
this? Okay.
Sorry, John's Tavern design. Right. So John, you're going to be continuing with working on the tavern. Is that right?
Yep. Let me bring that up.
Yeah, bring that up. We're going to have a discussion and presentation of some of the design elements inside Beedee's Treehouse, showing some designs and models. Most of this work, I would say, was done in the fourth quarter of last year. Yeah. And John's sharing. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'll take that down. I'll show John's work where
Nice.
he left off last week.
You added like a giant sign, a giant beer mug, right? Like a giant overflowing.
Yeah, some kind of I'm having a brain freeze right at the moment.
Yeah, I don't pay you for your work.
Mascot.
I pay you for your art.
Yeah, yes, some sort of mascot logo signage here, and then
Yeah, it's a logo. It's
I'm kind of want to put more flags here, like more like banners and stuff singing.
yeah, like make it a little more festive.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place of good times. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I want to focus on today, probably for this during this stream, is what's underneath these drapes, this outdoor diner area. Probably going to put this area right here is probably going to be like a dining area. So is this going to get some tables and chairs and some other stuff, and then over here I want it to be more storage, and maybe put a wagon here because they got to bring stuff in.
Nice.
And then after that, probably tackle like what's up here, what's going on up here.
What's your first inclination on what's up there?
First inclination was like an upper dining area if you wanted even more space. Like this is a popular tavern.
Yeah, I think.
But
that makes sense. I can kind of imagine the interior of this tavern. I have a floor plan idea on the interior, but yeah, it looks great.
Thanks.
Okay, let's do this. So, Beedee's Treehouse continued, part 2. Does anybody else have anything to bring up before I jump in? Am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so.
All right, let's do this. Okay. Share screen, entire screen, bingo. Bingo. All right. Okay. And did you organize some of these in as far as the order goes, Sam?
Yeah, I moved some things around.
Great. Okay. So this is a early illustration of the basic floor plan of Beedee's master floor. I should kind of mention that through the course of the series, Beedee's house is going to, it's kind of like the set piece for Full House, where like every season there's an undiscovered new room that someone can then move into, you know, basements, attics, second attics, third attics, garages. So right now, this is pretty much the entire set piece, which is main floor. And then he has his think tank room, which we're not going to talk too much about today, which is off on the side there. And then above the master floor, there's kind of a loft area where his bed is. And then there's kind of a nondescript ladder chute. I mentioned this last week. On the left side, there's a ladder chute that kind of goes up and down to the basement, up to the attic. We're not really getting into what's up there yet. In fact, haven't even designed it. I don't think for season 1 we're going to need more than just this primary living space. So that's the plan, and we can kind of walk you through some of the growing pains of designing a set. This was an early 3D primitive model of just laying out, kind of early layout. You know, what's the scale? What's the size of the characters versus the ceiling? What's the circumference of the room? You know, how many steps does it take to get up to the loft? All these types of things have to be discussed, and also kind of like, what's the deal with, like, you know, what's the size of a bookcase in this house versus, you know, a chair, and scale in general. I think if you guys haven't picked up by now, is something that we have a lot of fun with the designs on, whether props are very large or Bunderkin sized. And yeah, that kind of that philosophy for me is throughout Beedee's house. And this is pretty early renderings, again, just layouts of the idea here with this, and I don't think it's going to actually be this big. This seems a little big, right, John?
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
this is like his
later.
war room table. So what this is going to represent, and again, the design's not done yet, but this circular stump inside his living room, right in the center of the room, is his. It's a to scale model of Bunder Valley, the entire valley. And as he and Kathy and his friends start to explore, they start to map out what's out there. So in the first episode, it's really just like Beedee's house, the river, and the Kinder Tree, all these known Bunderkin landmark areas. But as they start to venture out, he's going to start whittling more and more cliffs and topography of the neighboring land. Think about it like, I always think about it like with Hiccup in How to Train Your Dragon 2, how he's fascinated with kind of mapping out his known world, all the continents and islands. Beedee's really starts to get obsessed with mapping out all of the terrain and the caves and the cliffs and the alcoves and meadows, forests and swamps in Bunder Valley. And again, remember, Bunder Valley is a perfect, it's kind of a perfectly shaped circle. So this stump is perfect for that. So I love miniatures. I like playing with little toys. So there's a lot of that kind of idea as they plan out their adventures.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't? Who doesn't? So this is kind of you can see here, like this is a this is a John special. I think Risa loves and hates when she gets illustrations like this, right?
Yep, this is just for blocking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty rough. Sometimes I tell John, I'm just like, just keep it fast and loose. You know, we can interpolate what you're thinking. You know, we don't need to over design a lot of things, but especially in the early phases when we were kind of making broad strokes at this. Yeah, that's an early draw over, which I think I told him, I'm like, we need more detail, or he got to that point. And this is kind of a more firm illustration of one side of Beedee's master floor plan, which, and you can see the loft with the bed up there. At some point, we had this idea of adding like this tree, kind of like this tree shape inside the home, and also like the top of the. Hey Sam, did you get the render of the star ceiling in here?
I don't
Might wanna look for
know.
it. Why don't you look for that while we're
Okay,
while I'm
sounds
going?
good. I'll take a look.
'Cause that one's great. So like this is a living hollowed out tree, similar to the Kinder tree where Bunder Hollow, the city, is located. Beedee lives in a conveniently hollowed out living tree, and it offers a lot of warmth and protection, and the walls are even still kind of growing within. So there's a lot of sense of kind of growth in life. The this is an illustration of what I was asking Sam to quest upon. On the top of the ceiling, there's like a, you know, he that's one thing I don't think we've touched on with Beedee is he's quite creative in his own messy, frantic way. He's quite crafty in all senses of the word. Like he likes to imagine and create, and since he doesn't know a lot about what's out there in the world, he does like the ideas of there being dragons or demons or ogres, or, you know, things to fight, things to challenge him. So he makes a lot of like really elaborate plushies and statues and sews. You know, you don't think about Beedee being a good seamstress. I wouldn't say he's good at it. I just think he's effective at it. He just builds whatever he can, and he collects things like crazy. All of these things should be things that I think a lot of people relate to, right? Whether you're a collector or a crafter, there should be something with Beedee's personality that resonates with you. This idea, I probably, you know, I look at this and I think of Tangled, right? You know, like she drew all of her hopes and dreams on the walls of the room. Very similar sentiment here, a little bit less less well done, you know, but I like the idea of, yeah, he nailed stars to the ceiling and he's tying them with ropes, and again, things that he has a lot of time on his hands, and he just does these things to inspire himself. Great artwork. This is like I think this is an early kind of design language for the walls of Beedee's house. Yeah, just like how to make wood gouges and how to make bevels and rounded corners, and how to make wood look like wood, but also still look really stylized and fun. Like a technical guide, I think, that John drew for Risa.
Yeah, that was early stages of figuring out our wood.
Oh, here, this is it. Did you already put it in there, Sam? Did it just pop in?
I put it in there, and then I snuck it into the lineup.
Nice. Right. This is so Risa started doing some 3D modeling of the stars and the ropes and things that are tied to the ceiling. Yeah. This is some prop design ideas for Beedee's house. Again, we haven't gotten to his training obstacle course yet, really, but he has a lot of like cardboard cutout, wood cutout monsters and things that he wants to be real. Like he wants to face adversaries, and he doesn't know what they're going to look like. So these are kind of just early ideas for him. Also, just remembering that he's a playful kid who likes to pretend that he's, you know, whatever. armchairs, a sofa. I like this. It's like a sofa. It's like a sponge sofa.
Yeah, these were meant to be like have a hand-me-down feel to them because like he found these things.
Good point. Yes, I should touch on that. So his house is very kind of like he's kind of a hoarder, but he also just collects things that have use, and he finds uses for them in his home.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of stuff that he found and stuff that he scrapped together into purpose.
Again, here's an idea. This is an early rendition of that.
I think that was the first drawing of it.
Right, the war room stump. I actually have an idea where I want this to be able to also kind of spin around, revolve, or turn over, so it's like a reversible table. So it has like a pin structure that actually spins into the ground, so it can like reverse. So one side is one thing, and the other side's is Bunder Valley. Oh, do we have some of the close-up drawings of those types of figurines?
I didn't include them here, but I have them. Do you want me to upload them in?
Yes, please.
All right, let me go get them.
Bookshelves with, I think some of this stuff's like early, just like, without John getting much direction on this, like, baseball, like there's not going to be a baseball bat and ball, to be honest. But some of this is just like trying to figure out how to make this place feel like a kid's room. This is like a food storage sardine can, again, he just throws some foods in there and nibbles on them as he can. Yes.
There is a question here that I thought,
Which
as
one
long
is
as we're
it?
talking about this
Yeah.
design stuff, how much of a prompt does John get when it comes to designing something new, or is it all from his head?
I'm going to let John answer that question.
It varies depending on how early on we are exploring something. Sometimes we use, I think I've mentioned this before, shotgunning, where it's kind of like we need something like this. Draw up a few ideas. We're not sure yet, and then once we see some things, we're like, okay, now we can start getting better direction of what we actually need. Now that we,
Yeah, sometimes John just comes up with a fun idea like this. I like this. 6 months ago, he had this idea for this grease shop underneath Kiki's the place where she works. They just sell varieties of grease, cooking grease, mechanical grease, anything greasy. It's just greasy grease. That's the entire point of the shop. And he just rolls with it and goes and goes. And what would be in a grease shop? There'd be barrels, there'd be pipes, there'd be barrels and pipes. And we usually just kind of riff on this stuff.
and the ideas often develop together as we talk about them, and we get new ideas and things start to fit together.
Yeah.
Like you've always mentioned that you want to have like failed business ideas in
Yes.
Bunder Hollow, and this became one of those where the guy just sells grease because he thinks grease is great. It can be used for a lot of things: eating, cooking, cleaning.
Grease is great.
And no one comes. He doesn't know why. He's got barrels of it out in front. He's even has one barrel open for free samples with a ladle. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
But no one comes. And he doesn't know why. It's a failing business.
Failed business. Love it. Yeah. This actually is this is a lighting test. The other thing about Bunderkin is how do we stylize light in general, how we do fall offs, light rays, how stark shadows are, things like that. This was just an early test for that, which is continued here with more detail. I think Risa, you modeled this, is that right?
I remember modeling that chair, but I think
did the
you
blanket.
you did a blanket and maybe the book too.
And the pillow.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all do everything. What I like about this is that this chair has like this mushroom lamp, which is really fun, like a reading lamp that shines light. Super fun. Sponge couch, again, early takes on the sponge couch as it starts to formulate. I'm sure Risa looks at this and says, "Oh, I want to." Drawovers. Again, he finds things. He finds arrowheads. He finds Swiss Army knives. Comic books. That's something that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. How much written literature there is in Bunder Hollow. and there's some just major story ideas that kind of conflict with that. So we're still trying to settle on the rules for that. But this is kind of like a torn up kind of graphic novel that he stumbled across, maybe while out in the woods. Early bookshelf 3D models. Right. So this was an early idea for how Beedee he starts to whittle and carve all of the locations, the key locations in the for the war room table. And I had this idea of making, this is something I feel like I did give you a really good prompt on, which is like these bottom heavy rounded wooden carvings that, those types of things that always kind of bounce upwards. So they're like weighted bottom heavy. So they always kind of pivot and spin and yeah, so he kind of, for all of the figurines he makes of people, he makes it so they're always, they never get beaten down. They're always up. Yeah, that's like the Kinder Tree kind of idea there. There's a covering for that war room table. Further 3D model. I love these. So the idea here is that again, Beedee is a loner who doesn't have a lot of friends, and he's super neurotic, and he has a wild imagination and the ability to create things. And the idea here is that he creates these little shrunken heads that look like little kind of cursed heads, or like trophies possibly of all the things that he's killed or defeated in his lifetime. And he creates these little shrunken monster heads and hangs them on the wall. And just through his own kind of neuroses, he has this is again early texturing. This is very, very early, but he starts to talk to them, like he has a tendency to consult with them. When especially kind of early on in the series, when he doesn't have a lot of people to listen to or talk to. This is just kind of the byproduct of living on your own for too long, that kind of thing. Yeah, and here's some of them kind of on the wall.
Who's the guy that makes puts a face on a volleyball and talks to it?
I was just
Right.
going to say
and,
that it's Wilson from. My mind just went blank too, John. What a pair of
here's the
Yeah,
question:
thank
is
you.
that movie called Castaway, or is it Castaway?
I've not.
I know he's a castaway, obviously, but is it also just cast away, like he's been cast away?
Oh, I do not know. I've not seen the movie.
I haven't seen it in a long time. Either way, it's
Anthony
an
asks,
interpretation.
is Beedee an orphan or a lost child? He's neither. He's alone. That's the other thing is that he's quite independent. Like he doesn't really have. He's quite self-reliant. We don't get too much into his how his backstory, how he came to be. This isn't kind of like a Pixar movie where we dwell in those kind of things. He's just his own person who lives on his own. And that kind of notion, I think, should resonate with a lot of people, who are just, who feel young and live on their own. And it's that type of thing where, in a lot of ways, he's just a living metaphor of people who are alone. And yeah, I've said this numerous times. I'm not terribly interested into getting into his backstory. It's important to note that he's not terribly sad about his predicament. It's, someone might be able to kind of analyze him and say, oh, this kid's sad because he's alone, but that's never anything that he would say about himself. It's just how it is. Everybody gets dealt different cards. So
he's not the kind of person who let things get him down.
Yeah, no.
Like it's very rare that he gets down about something.
No, exactly. Yeah. It is quite rare that he gets down. Again, early texture tests, curtains, and lighting tests very early. This stuff still has a ways to go. I think Nicole did these awesome kind of chiseled out banisters. I think I loved them so much that I had her just, we ended up adding like a saw, just like saw, like there's a saw that's permanently wedged into a board of wood up here. Like he's really just made all this on his own. And he is a craftsman, but he's limited. So when his saw gets stuck in the wood, he just has to leave it there. Yeah, this is kind of a early texture pass at this balcony. There's that saw I was talking about. He just takes an axe or chisel and just goes for it. That's the idea here.
We went through a couple different iterations too, right? Where we were going to put Beedee's bed, whether it was going to be on the ground floor or up in the loft, and there was different ideas about how he was going to get down.
The loft has gone through a few different renditions, where it's located and how he gets up there. I didn't want his house to feel like it's like big and massive like a mansion, so we definitely wanted to have all of his primary living requirements, utilities, all in the same room. Just utilize that room in a different way. So yeah, this loft is kind of a makeshift loft, but yeah, here's like a grayscale render just of his doorway. He has like he likes to self-brand. He draws himself and chisels himself into a lot of his own property, because he's very particular about who owns what, and that's kind of a reoccurring piece of selfishness. I think a lot of Bunderkin share. Like they all kind of brand their homes with their own type of persona. But I like the idea that he has like a cork with a rope tied to it that pops out, and he can stare at people through the keyhole or through the peephole. This is actually that upstairs loft area. It's hard to kind of make out, but yeah, more lofts. More early renders of just this. I'm not sold on the pink yet for the walls. I like it because it makes Beedee and Kathy pop out really well, but I think it's a little too electric still. So all of these are very early, just kind of utility renders, I'd call them. We're not done with lighting here.
I would agree, especially since Nicole pioneered, helped pioneer our wood. We wanted to revisit this stuff.
This was earlier. This was Risa did all this interior is Risa except for this porch here. So hats off to you, Risa. Again, lighting ideas. The other thing he has is this really large window in the house. I don't think we've shown that really well from any of the particular angles that we've chosen, but there's a very large vertical window. But this render gives you a sense of the scale of his home, how, there's not a lot of living space. It's relatively humble, but I mean, for one person, it seems great, but there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of rooms. It's all very cluttered. This is a 3D render of that his house just kind of spinning. A lot of textures here are busted, so you'll see a lot of like solid colored items, but this gives you a sense of the space. And also this piece of wood with the footprints in there, that's not even supposed to be in there. I threw that in there just as a wood color reference test. Yeah, this is kind of a fun thing to look at as far as just getting a sense of the clutter. We really want every inch of his home to be really cluttered and covered with thoughts and ideas, and he's not terribly tidy, and he's actually quite gross when it comes down to it, when it comes to like his sloppiness levels. But yeah, that is that. And again, this is last year, so if you kind of look at this and compare this to where we're going, what Reese is doing now with the texture qualities and stuff, you can kind of see, I kind of want everybody to extrapolate a bit with where we're going versus where we were. A lot of that. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, we initially just planning on using the solid color for everything.
Solid color.
But yeah, we moved on to super detailed,
Yeah.
much more detailed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it. Like I feel like finally, okay, this is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely wanted to. I wanted us to come from stylization simplicity, instead of trying to take realism and kind of back it towards stylized. I wanted it to come from bubbly and cartoony and soft, and have all of these decisions earn their way into the show. Because honestly, all these decisions to make things look this beautiful, this costs money, and it's budgets definitely start to kind of balloon a bit. But I think where we are here, we have a lot of solutions in place where we're getting the detail, but it's still affordable for us to actually produce. So, yeah. Anyway, that's I think, is that the whole thing? Is that it? That's it.
Yeah, that's what we had planned for today. It's just
Perfect.
going through that.
You answer questions, and then we'll call it for the week.
Do we want to check in on John's Tavern?
Good idea. Let's do
And we can kind of see where he's at, and then let him draw as we answer questions.
Oh, I see. You're doing something. Yeah. So this is underneath the canopies.
Yep. So the canopies go on top of this like that, and
Nice.
this probably needs to be smaller.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I still feel your scale's off a little bit. That bookshelf too probably is too big.
This is going to be like a cabinet where they.
Next door to the tavern is kind of an inn. We haven't really designed the inn yet, but
That was one of our jokes, right? Like, no one visits except other people from Bunder Hollow, but they still stay in the inn because that's just they're like,
yes, right. There's
they're coming from like the suburbs right outside, but they're like, man,
a dystopian world where no other cities are known of, but they still have an inn. It's just a concept that everybody rallied behind.
Bunderkin are not known for thinking very far ahead or thinking very long about something.
Doing Tom stuff says the texturing reminds me of Borderlands cell shading. Yeah, I agree. Or Wind Waker. Yes, Wind Waker's a really. We talk about Wind Waker all the time. Outset Island and what's the island with the windmill in Wind Waker?
oh, I don't know because
It starts with O. I think they both start with O. Offset.
But that was one of the ones that we referenced during when we were doing Bunder Hollow because you're like it has such a nice verticality to it. I remember that.
Yeah. And I gotta look that up. Anybody, any of our audience knows what the name of the Windmill Island in Wind Waker is called? I think the one he's from is called Outset. I don't think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with O. I swear. Fallen Riot says he's wondering what thousands of people are wondering. I know thousands have applied. When will you be announcing the VAs? I can tell you we met with someone this week. We met with a voice artist this week to lock her down. So I can't really answer. Like, we're going to be notifying the majority of people that that we've received their auditions and that we're going a different direction. So we have kind of a not a good fit list for 95% of the applicants, I'd say. We're sending that out. Sam's working on sending that out this week, I think. Is that right, Sam?
Yeah.
Pressure's on.
Yeah. I'm working on compiling all the emails and getting that all organized. I don't know if we want to nail down for sure this week, but
I hate calling them rejection letters, but that's basically what they are. It's basically we're going to be sending out rejection letters. Where it goes from here, as far as announcing goes. Sorry, did you want to say something?
No, I was just going to say we're in that phase where we're just trying to organize everything and getting it ready.
Right.
It's a lot to organize.
Yeah.
Will you be posting on Blue Sky? I don't even know what Blue Sky is.
Blue Sky is a new social media platform.
Is it bigger and better than the other ones? Is it just?
I personally don't know a lot about it because I'm not on social media a whole lot, but I do know.
Oh, wait, is this the one like a lot of Instagram Instagram friends are just
a lot of artists that I followed on Instagram moved over to there.
Windfall, thank you, Windfall Island.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't know a bunch about Blue Sky. I can look into it. I know for better or for worse, I think a lot when I hear about new social media places, I sometimes think they're politically motivated. If that's the case, I just like I don't want to make any. I'm not making statements on anything because we're artists and we make things for everyone. So that being said, I think a lot of my art friends on Instagram have gone to Blue Sky, but they're still on Instagram as well. So I'll look into it. Sounds good. I'll look into it. As far as announcements, so our next step for Caitlin says, I'd rather receive a rejection letter than to be left in the dark. You make it sound that sounded like a slash. Caitlin, are you slashing us? Look, there's very few of us here. But who you see on this screen is all we got going on. So it does take a big effort. Sam can attest to the fact that it takes a big effort to organize and respond to all of the applicants, especially now that number is up to like 18,000, 20,000 based off of the last time I checked. Auditions are officially closed for the pilot for sure. They are closed as of 8 days ago. And most of the people that applied on Casting Calls Club and Backstage have already been notified. I think they get automatically notified if it's a no. It's really just the social media open casting call, the public casting call that we did that we're struggling to respond to. So so the next steps are to reach out to we have a few people that we've locked down that we for sure want. We have for certain characters, like there's people that auditioned, they knocked it out of the park. I got to reach out to them, work out the contract deals. And then after we work out the contract deals, then we'll announce on our socials who they are once we have a deal in place, because we don't want to throw someone's name out there unless they're locked in. And the other group is we have some callbacks. So for certain roles, I think Beedee is one of them. I need to do callbacks, which is there's about 12 people for Beedee we're going to be reaching out to, asking for a second pass at the audition with a little bit more direction from me directly. And then after that, we'll make our final decision. And I know it's a pain. I know it feels like it's been a long time. It has been a long time. It's been 3 months now. But it's part of the process for what we have. We don't have a dedicated casting agent at the moment, nor can we necessarily afford one. So it is what it is. I know you weren't slashing. I knew you were going to reply. So what you're saying is that you're happy that we're even thinking about responding. That's your point. Not to. I know you weren't being snide. Was there any other questions that we needed to answer here, Sam?
Yeah, I like this one that talks about, does Bunder Hollow is built on top of each other, but it does also go down like dwarves and like the Moria mines. Lord of the Rings?
Good question. It doesn't. For all intents and purposes, the official answer as of today is that it doesn't go down into the ground. That being said, if it did go down, that would be somewhat of a discovery. So, we'll see. That's a good question, though. It goes up, and in fact, once the inside of the Kinder Tree got filled up, it started pouring out to the backside, and that's where you get. There's a certain area in the back of the Kinder Tree that's known as the slums. Lovely word, right? And the slums is where the sun rarely shines because it's in the shadow of the Kinder Tree, and it's rather dank and dangerous and gross. And it's just kind of a blot in the eye of Mayor Bunson's perfect, beautiful metropolis, Bunder Hollow. Any other questions?
Yeah, so there's another one that's kind of Bunder Hollow.
Ooh, off topic question. What will the food be like? Will some be like our world, like pies, apples, and burritos? And will also some be made up like the Krabby Patty? Great question. We talk about that often. So there's definitely going to be rollover. We have, ideas for pies and soups and chowders and chilies and ramens and fish on sticks and things like that. We're trying to get a little bit fun with it. Their cuisine is really a mix, I think, of like Chinese, Japanese, American, and European influences. And I know it's going to feel familiar. But I think some of the design elements and how it's plated is going to seem pretty fantastical or put it into a place of fiction. We have an idea for having, for example, we have meatballs that they serve on string. So you might buy a pair of meatballs that are connected by a piece of string, and they're kind of cooked and baked on the string itself. And that's and then again, there might be a really adorable kind of paw print design pushed into the side of it, so it looks super cutesy. But yeah, so everybody's going to look at that and know it's a meatball like thing, and they can maybe imagine what that tastes like. But for the most part, and the other thing is some of the fruits that we're designing and vegetables are also going to be totally fantasy related. But we're also talking about right now how to roll in different types of fruits and cuisines as they go out and explore beyond Bunder Valley. That unlocks more commerce with other communities if they're out there. And yeah, that's a good question. Hope I answered that.
I think it's something on my list to eventually take a deeper dive into.
Really start to
when we have
flesh
a
it out.
chance.
Yeah, the food. Yeah, right now, I'm going to show this illustration, actually. John drew this week, too, which was really great. This doorway. Really massive doorway. Right now we have John working on low-level logos and religious/cultural iconography for Bunder Hollow, and working that into tables and chairs and doorways and mailboxes, and have making shrines and stuff that's going to really make it feel layered and Bunderkin-y in its own right. And that's kind of where I feel strongly about doing that first, and then we're moving away from that and towards other types of designs like food and things. But right now he's working on furnitures, doorways, windows, structures. What do basic beams and pipes and planks look like? Like I said, with the these types of things, all this type of iconography for posts and all of these things that repeat in different areas of this. So this is what's going to really make it feel like a fantasy world, but also feel real, because there's going to be all these reoccurring symbols. So that's the priority. And then after that, we start kind of moving on to food and to cuisine and other types of more specific props and things.
Yeah, it's down the list. We did mention it.
Say that again.
It's down the list. Like, it's not. I don't think it's what I'm doing. It's not what I'm doing next or anything. But it's something further down the road that we want to get to.
And when John did such a good job. Like he's drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types of door frames. You'd be amazed with just with these types of varieties. We can now extrapolate this design every time we do a doorway. We can copy paste this into different areas for different buildings. Also kind of kit bash this stuff together to make new buildings and new entryways and things like that. So this type of environment design is really essential for efficiency. Yeah, that's the approach. It's super fun to see this all come alive. Fallen Riot says, Beedee's one of those characters that can be generational. I'm excited to see where this guy goes. After hundreds of auditions, even your character direction cards were spot on and miles above everyone. Oh, everyone. I get it. I know how to read. Will there be like graffiti or propaganda, religious symbols people have tagged throughout the city? That's a great question. The mayor keeps a pretty tight watch and firm fist over propaganda, especially. Religiously, there's not much going on in Bunder Hollow, except for a certain amount of obsessive fanaticism towards the founders of Bunder Hollow, and how the founders have really, they were such a big part in establishing the town and city. And there's all these types of fables and folklore and stories about them and their personalities. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily prayed to directly, but they're definitely revered, and people kind of seek favor of the founders in a more kind of pragmatic way of just like good vibes and positive energy. That's kind of, I think, where, and I talked to Risa a lot about this too, just about like how different cultures kind of their outlook on prayer, which is more it's not always to one, it's not always to a god, it's really just towards positive energies, is what I think you said, right, Risa? Yeah. And this is, there's different types of, whether it's Buddhist or is it Shinto, or different types of cultural belief systems around that. We're trying to kind of hearken towards that type of thing, but we're also intermingling it with the history, the actual physical history of Bunder Hollow. So again, this is the founder of Good Times. That's his shtick. It's just good times, and people use him for for celebrations, for parties, for probably drinking, things like that.
It's also used in businesses for like good luck and good business.
Yes, but also is it's a positive thing towards good luck. But then also, as we, you guys might know about, like we have those little piki tiki pots. That's a different type of belief system. That's a little bit more in your own hands. You make of it what you will. More just kind of unknown beliefs that maybe just kind of crept into the culture of Bunder Hollow from who knows where. All these types of things are going to be avenues for episodes for discovery of the kids finding out what's of value to them and what's not. I wouldn't even necessarily say what's true and what's not, although sometimes it does intermingle with that. But it's really just like, how do you evaluate value for tradition? How do you prove that? These are kind of fundamental questions that I think all of us, as we get older, start to, even as we're young, start to kind of question and ask upon. So that's really kind of a pretty concise way to demonstrate how the show has a lot of depth. So, anyway, it's 55 minutes. That sounds like a good place to end. I keep promising we're going to get faster and faster. I'd love it to end it right now. I know Matt, Andy, you guys were a little quiet today. Do you guys have anything else you want to share? Any thoughts or?
Yeah, I like the thumbs up that the character gives. It gives good vibes just looking at it.
Yeah, he's funny.
I'd toss a coin every time I walked in.
Yeah, he also is represented. He's also represented. Let's see. I was actually looking at a model of his today. I think Risa modeled this medallion. This is a depiction of him. Is that right?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I turned it into a door knocker. So
fun.
it's, yes, because it works for that. And I think I had a statue that Nathaniel modeled. Let's see if I can. This one's fantastic. Let's see. Props, characters, founders, good times. There we go. He doesn't even have a name yet. It's just good times. He has a theme before he has a name. 1 second. Let's open up this file. There he is. Ignore the texturing. I was testing something today.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh.
Yeah, it's funny.
I think we call him the Feaster.
Yeah, the Feaster. Exactly. Yeah. He's portly. He's a portly little fellow. Good times is right. We do have. I have this idea for an episode where. So Beedee looks like the Bane, the Bunder Dragon, one of the original enemies of Bunder Hollow, and there's a lot of infamy around him. So he resembles this town foe from old. And I had this idea where at some point I think they're sneaking in. The idea is that they're going to sneak into some type of celebration, and it's like a founders festival of some kind, and he's dressing up like the like Bane the Bunder Dragon. And he's like, I look ridiculous. Nobody could possibly pull off a stupid costume like this and look good. And then the cuts to Kathy, who comes out, and he's dressed like this. He's dressed like this feasting founder, and he looks just like perfect, like pitch perfect. Like he looks amazing. He really pulls off the entire vibe. And it's that's the gag I have in my head for that. It'll be good. But anyway, yeah, I like the idea. Again, he has like that kind of kabuki mask. Kind of, I am positive. I have a, he's all smiles and squints, and he looks kind of sneaky, but also kind of just unquestionably fun. So there's a bit of that. Anyway, that brings us to an end. 5:57.
Pretty good.
We're good. John has the drawing. It's good. Looking good. Look at that. Man, you really got some details in there. Looking good. Nice.
I want to brainstorm some more.
I get it.
Some more stuff. Normally what I do with this, I create a list of like things that should go here of props, and I need to do a little bit of research. Probably then come up with a wellspring of things to add in here.
Love it. It looks good.
This is the first.
It's in a primary corner of Bunder Hollow, so it does have. This is one of those set pieces that's going to be reoccurring.
Yeah, it's just like to the left of the entrance. So
yeah, it's right to the left of the entrance. So.
One of the first landmarks you see when you enter.
Yes. I like this question. Will special guest musicians be your interest in the line? Yes, I'm actually hoping that when we get the voices cast, we're gonna bring them to production weeklies and talk to them once we finalize that list. My goal here with this is that we're making this show, and you guys are meeting. The fans are meeting all the amazing artists and musicians and actors and talent that goes into this as we're making it. So instead of it being a post behind the scenes, it's a along the way behind the scenes. That's really how I'm positioning this. Yes, but that's it. Anyway, that's it for the week, guys. And then next week. What do we got next week, Sam?
So next week we are going over animation tests.
Tests, right? We're gonna bring Amanda May, our amazing animator. She's coming in. She's gonna walk us through some of her recent work. She's done a few different tests for Kathu, Beedee, Vi, and Pam at this point, and I'm hoping I can be a good questionnaire and ask her questions that animators actually would want to know the answers to. So let's hope we can get down and dirty with it. That's it. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.